In war, logistics are everything. An army needs food, fuel, and ammunition to survive. Cut off these supplies, and even the strongest force collapses. Russia's military has always relied on its vast railway network to move heavy equipment and supplies across its enormous territory. Trains carry tanks, artillery, and tons of ammunition, loads that trucks simply can't handle efficiently. The railway is the backbone of the Russian war machine, but it's also a glaring vulnerability. Imagine a single railway line stretching for hundreds of miles, a lifeline but also an exposed target. A single destroyed bridge or damaged track can halt supplies for days, creating chaos at the front. Repairing these breaks takes time and resources, while soldiers wait for the essentials they need to fight. This is why railways are now a central focus in the war in Ukraine. Ukraine knows it can't match Russia's size head-on, so it's targeting the system that keeps Russian troops fighting. By attacking railway logistics, Ukraine aims to weaken Russia's military from within. It's a calculated campaign to dismantle the supply chain piece by piece. Every disrupted train, every broken bridge chips away at Russia's ability to sustain its war effort. The goal isn't just to win battles, but to make it impossible for Russia to keep fighting at all. This strategy turns a simple truth of war, armies need supplies, into a powerful weapon. Ukraine is betting that if it can starve the Russian war machine, it can change the course of the conflict. The outcome may depend less on firepower, and more on who controls the flow of supplies. In this war, the steel tracks beneath the trains are as important as the guns at the front. The battle for logistics is the battle for victory, and right now, Ukraine is fighting that battle with relentless determination. Crimea is more than territory, it's a symbol of Russian pride and a critical military outpost. Its position in the Black Sea gives Russia naval dominance and a launch pad for power projection. For Ukraine, Crimea is both a matter of national identity and a strategic necessity. Control over Crimea means control over vital ports and trade routes, and its occupation is a constant threat to Ukraine's security. Russia has spent years turning Crimea into a fortress packed with troops, air defenses, and military bases. It's also the main logistical hub for Russian forces in southern Ukraine. Supplies flow into Crimea and are distributed to the front, making the peninsula the heart of Russia's war effort in the south. If Ukraine can disrupt this flow, the entire southern front could be thrown into crisis. Isolating Crimea isn't just about reclaiming land, it's about cutting off Russia's ability to fight in the region. Ukraine's strategy is to make Crimea unsustainable for Russia, both militarily and politically. By targeting the peninsula's supply lines, Ukraine hopes to weaken Russia's grip and set the stage for future liberation. Cutting off Crimea is a central pillar of Ukraine's plan to win the war. The fate of the peninsula could decide the fate of the conflict. Ukraine is now waging a focused campaign to sever Russia's railway connections to Crimea. The main target, the last major railway line from Rostov-on-Don, the primary artery feeding the southern front. Recent strikes deep inside Russia show Ukraine's determination to choke this supply line. Attacks are precise, hitting vulnerable points like bridges and junctions. The Chokehold railway bridge and the Kerch Strait Bridge, both critical links, have been repeatedly targeted. Each successful strike creates massive logistical headaches for Russian planners. When railways are cut, Russia must rely on roads, which are slower, less efficient, and more vulnerable to attack. A single train can carry what would take dozens of trucks, so every disrupted rail line slows the Russian war machine. Ukraine's goal is to create a logistical desert around Crimea, making it impossible for Russia to sustain its forces. This is a war of attrition, not against soldiers but against the supply network itself. Every damaged track and delayed shipment brings Ukraine closer to its goal. The strategy is to weaken the fortress from within, without a costly frontal assault. By strangling the supply lines, Ukraine hopes to force Russia into a defensive posture. The battle for the railways is a battle for the future of Crimea. Ukraine is combining new technology with classic sabotage to attack Russia's railways. Long-range drones strike deep into Russian territory, hitting railway hubs, fuel depots, and repair facilities. Nowhere in the Russian supply chain is truly safe. Alongside drones, Ukraine uses sabotage. Covert teams and local partisans disrupt tracks, destroy signal boxes, and cut power. These small acts can cause major delays and force Russia to guard thousands of miles of track. Notable operations have targeted key tunnels and bridges, sometimes with help from Russian citizens working with Ukrainian intelligence. This blend of high-tech and old-school tactics keeps constant pressure on Russia's logistics. Russia must defend everywhere, stretching its security forces thin. The result is an atmosphere of uncertainty and vulnerability across the entire supply network. The goal make the logistical effort so costly and difficult that it becomes unsustainable for Moscow. Ukraine's modern resistance is turning Russia's railways into a battlefield. Russia has responded to these attacks by reviving armored trains, steel-plated, gun-mounted relics patrolling vulnerable tracks. These trains carry anti-aircraft guns, electronic jammers, and repair crews, trying to protect and quickly fix damaged lines. But with thousands of miles to defend, their impact is limited. Russia is also building a new railway from Rostov-on-Don through occupied territories, aiming for a safer land bridge to Crimea. Construction is slow and risky, new tracks are targets and resources are stretched thin. Russia must protect old lines while investing in new ones, diverting money and manpower from the front. The new railway, if finished, could help, but until then, Russia is locked in a constant struggle to keep its supply lines open. Every attack forces Russia to patch up damage and guess where the next strike will land. The battle for the railways is draining Russian resources and exposing the limits of its logistical reach. The war on the tracks is as fierce as any fight at the front. Ukraine's attacks on railways are hitting Russian troops where it hurts most: supplies. When a line is cut, ammunition, fuel, and food become scarce at the front. Soldiers are forced to ration shells, limiting their ability to fight and defend. Vehicles run out of fuel, units become immobile, and morale plummets as food and water run low. These shortages create frustration and isolation among Russian troops, undermining their will to fight. Commanders are forced to delay or cancel offensives and must make tough choices about where to send limited resources. Weaknesses appear in the lines, giving Ukraine new opportunities to strike. The Russian military becomes less flexible, constantly reacting to crises caused by broken supply chains. The ultimate goal: make Russia's position in southern Ukraine and Crimea untenable. By grinding down supplies, Ukraine hopes to wear out Russian forces and open the door for a breakthrough. The war on logistics is slowly tipping the balance. The campaign against Russia's railways could decide the war's outcome. If Ukraine severs the land bridge to Crimea, the peninsula becomes a costly liability for Russia. Supplying it by sea or air is risky and expensive, especially under constant threat from Ukrainian missiles and drones. Isolated Russian forces would be weakened, shifting the balance in Ukraine's favor, both on the battlefield and at the negotiating table. This strategy relies on continued Western support. Intelligence, weapons, and training are all crucial. As the human cost mounts, Ukraine's focus on logistics offers a path to victory based on strategy, not just brute force. By targeting the railways, Ukraine is starving the Russian war machine and shaping the future of the conflict. The outcome may hinge not on grand battles, but on who controls the steel lifelines. The fate of Crimea, and perhaps the entire war, will be decided on the tracks.